There's no such thing as a true random in computers, and I've been manipulating players in my games for years. A few weeks ago, I wrote a short about how not only is random in computers made up, but that also game devs manipulate random to be in the favor of the player. But that was an educated guess on somebody else's game. And I have plenty of examples of that right here at home. By the way, if you haven't checked out my shorts, make sure to. On the weeks that I'm not releasing long form videos, I tend to release a few shorts. And I post them on Instagram and TikTok as well. Sometimes even before YouTube, sometimes different content entirely. So make sure that you're following so that you can keep up. As many of you may know, I've been making word games for something like 10 years. And as such, when I was talking about Scramble with friends, I was really talking about my damn near clone of the game, Unscramble Me. But honestly, I took all of that to the next level with Swiped Words. So Swiped Words is actually a far more complicated game under the hood than it seems. Basically, at the start of the game, there are 300 cards generated. The cards are made up of random letters, prefixes, and suffixes. But because you cannot see the next card without swiping away, and there are a limited number of undos, I actually help players out a lot by curating the hell of those cards in a number of ways. The first one is to actually limit the number of what I like to call obscure letters. These are the letters that appear far less frequently than the others in English. You know, think of things like Q, X, V, K, etc. And you're probably thinking to yourself, I can spell plenty of words with those letters. And that's totally true, but could you name 10 words that start with X right now? You'd kind of have to think about it. It's not as easy as it seems, right? That's because these letters appear far less than the others in the English dictionary. And as such, I've labeled them obscure. These letters are not allowed to take up more than 5% of the total distribution of cards. Why 5%? I don't know. I probably just made that up, or maybe it just felt right. The second one is that you cannot receive more than 3 cards in a row without getting a vowel, because English is heavily reliant on vowels. In fact, there are no English words in a traditional dictionary that don't use a vowel or Y in place of a vowel. Hence the sometimes Y. Of course, there are some non-traditional words like burr, ts, sh, but even then, there's only a handful. This process sometimes increases the number of cards generated because the algorithm finds the next available vowel, and if there are none, it'll actually insert a new one. Now, the third hack that I'm using is that there's a 10% chance of the combo card. Those are the prefixes and suffixes. There's a 75% chance of a consonant, you know, letters that are not vowels, and 50% chance of vowel in the original distribution. Obviously, this gets changed as the vowel rule is implemented. And if we find that the actual amount of obscure letters is higher than that 5%, we will actually go in and replace those obscure letters with non-obscure letters, which are basically the most common consonants. Here's another one for you. Even the vowel distribution is skewed. Why? Because vowels are not born equal and their distribution in English is not symmetric. The actual numbers are kind of weird. So it's just a little easier to say that you are most likely to get an A or E, followed by I, followed by O, then U, because that's the order they are most used in the English dictionary. Now I've told you about all these things I did, and I said it was for the player, but I really didn't explain why. So in a game like Swiped Words, where letters are coming at you randomly and you have to combine on the fly, if I didn't rig the game a bit, it'd be no fun. And in fact, after I messed with the distribution, scores just about doubled, meaning people were spelling more words, which was the entire point. If you're only getting to spell about 5 words per game, that's really no fun for anybody, and probably results in a lot of frustration. And I'm not saying that Swiped Words was a hit game by any means, but it was probably my most addictive pick up and play game I've ever made. And I think this was largely due to those behind the scene tweaks that I made. There are actually a bunch more silly little tricks that I did to make Swiped Words, but I think that's for another video. Anyways, let me know in the comments what surprised you, or if you've ever made a game in which you had to rig it in your player's favor, or even not in their favor. If you liked this video or you didn't, subscribe to hate on me more or subscribe to show me some love. All I'm saying is, it's no fun hating on someone that isn't popular. Like, you don't want to be the hipster of haters. I'm kidding, mostly. My name is Tez Fraser, and I will see you in the next one.